Good morning. I'm Edward Nelson Fell. My wife Ann and I purchased land at which Fellsmere is situated on in March 1910, started developing the town in Fellsmere in 1911. During the early years of development, there were very few cars. Mostly people traveled locally by horse and buggy. Over time, that changed and more people bought cars. Cars necessitated repairs, and repairs necessitated a garage. I'm standing in front of the old Fellsmere garage, built in 1925. Today, it is known as Willie's Bar and Grill. Ellsworth Weigel repaired vehicles in this building, and Ellsworth was the oldest son of Milford and Laura Weigel. Like his father, Ellsworth was a mechanic, but his father was nationally known and recognized as a famous mechanic in the early 1900s. Ellsworth's father, Milford, became a test driver for the Olds Motor Works in Detroit, Michigan in 1902. Then in 1905, he was selected as a mechanic and co-driver for driver Dwight Huss to race an Olds Motor Works Oldsmobile standard runabout automobile from New York to Portland, Oregon against another Oldsmobile automobile. This was the first transcontinental automobile race in the United States. The race started in New York City on May 8, 1905, and Milford Weigel and Dwight Huss raced against Percy McGargle and Barton Stornfield in Oldsmobile runabouts approximately 3,500 miles across the country. The race took much longer than expected to complete, and in weather conditions no one would be willing to drive through today. Most of their entire journey was on dirt and muddy roads, but sometimes in deep sand and on lava rocks. Fortunately, none of the four men involved in the race suffered any debilitating injuries, although McGargle and Stanchfield nearly drowned when their car fell through a wooden bridge in Nebraska. Also, while crossing the Cascade Mountains in Oregon, they came within a few inches of losing their lives as their car slid down the mountain, coming to a stop, hanging over a cliff. Weigel and Huss arrived in Portland, Oregon 44 days later to win the race on June 21st, while McGargle and Stanfield got lost and showed up several days later. Weigel and Huss were greeted by an enthusiastic crowd of approximately 350,000 people who hailed them as instant celebrities after a grueling race across the country. After the race, Milford returned to his job at the Detroit Olds factory, but moved to Lansing, Michigan in 1905. In 1907, he beat the world's record in a race with his road machine in Denver, Colorado. And then in 1909, Milford moved his family to Newcastle, Indiana, where he worked for the Briscoe Automobile Factory that made the Maxwell automobile. In March 1917, a cyclone hit Newcastle, Indiana, destroying many of the homes on the street where the Weigels lived. It was a terrible experience for the entire family. A friend of Milford's who lived in Vero Beach, Florida, influenced the Weigels to move to Fellsmere, Florida. In 1920, Milford opened his own garage at his home in Fellsmere on 109th Street near the Park Lateral. Milford, who had an excellent voice, became the choir director of the Fellsmere Methodist Episcopal Church, now the Fellsmere Historical Church. And he got the bell in 1925 for the church, which is still rung today. He was also a member of the Fellsmere Masonic Lodge that was responsible for laying the cornerstone of the Fellsmere Public School on January 31st, 1916. Ellsworth Weigel came to Fellsmere at age 18 when his parents moved the entire family here. His father, Milford, taught Ellsworth everything he needed to know about repairing cars while working in the family garage of the Weigel house in Fellsmere. In June 1921, Ellsworth married Anna Green, and in 1925, Ellsworth leased the property on North Broadway and opened the Fellsmere garage. 5 years later, he and his wife Anna bought the property on October 2nd, 1930. The day following the purchase, they entered into a 2-year lease with a Texas company, later known as Texaco, and a gasoline pump was installed in front of the Fellsmere garage. In September 1935, Ellsworth asked the Fellsmere City Council for a permit to repair his building and to build a gas station. During the 1930s, Ellsworth Weigel became very active in city politics. In February 1936, he was elected as a Fellsmere City Councilman and appointed to the Finance Committee. 2 years later, he was elected for another 2-year term as councilman. However, in 1939, Weigel had to resign from the council because he had moved outside the city limits. Although he resigned, the city council appointed him as maintenance manager of the city's streets and bridges at a salary of $1. Also, the same year, the city council appointed Weigel as alternate fire chief with no compensation since the fire department at that time was strictly volunteer. When Ellsworth's term as maintenance manager of the city's streets and bridges expired in February 1940, the Fellsmere City Council appointed him as supervisor of municipal work for $1 per year. In November 1942, Ellsworth Weigel resigned as city manager and garbage collector, never to serve again in any capacity for the city of Fellsmere. After contracting pleurisy from lying on the cold concrete repairing cars, Ellsworth closed his garage in 1945. Then he grew gladiolas and Easter lilies and raised cattle on his property. Later, he went to work at the Fellsmere Sugar Mill as an electrician until he retired in 1965. The Fellsmere garage went through a series of owners following Ellsworth and Ann's sale of the property. In June 1948, the Barkowskis bought it. Gilbert Barkowski was famous in his own right. Gilbert Barkowski had worked for the Fellsmere Farms Company during the early days of Fellsmere and raised cattle as a rancher. He started with 50 head of cattle in 1916 and grew the herd to more than 2,000 head of cattle. He also served in the Indian River County School Board and on the County Commission. He served as state director of the Florida Cattlemen's Association and several terms as president of the Indian River Cattlemen's Association. Shortly before his death in 1983, he was named as Cattleman of the Century. Gilbert Barkowski owned the Fellsmere garage property for 10 years and then sold it. It is not certain when the Fellsmere garage ceased to repair vehicles and sell gasoline. According to longtime resident of Fellsmere, Barbara Weigel Robinson, daughter of Ellsworth and Anna Weigel, the Fellsmere garage was used to store vehicles when it ceased operations at an automobile repair shop. As late as 1995, the Fellsmere garage sign was visible over the old wooden garage door in the front of the building. Prior to 1995, the building was vacant for many years until the late 1990s when it was remodeled. The building was converted into Lucky Strike Bar and Grill, then Club Anthrax, later the Broken Spoke Bar and Grill, and as of November 1st, 2020, the building was renamed Willie's Bar and Grill and leased and managed by Adam Morris. Barbara Weigel Robinson was raised in Fellsmere and attended all 12 grades at the Fellsmere Public School, now Fellsmere City Hall, at 22 South Orange Street. She graduated in 1954 in a class of 6. Barbara was a longtime member of the Fellsmere Community Bible Church. Barbara organized and hosted the Fellsmere Old Timers Reunion every March from 1994 to 2018 for old-time Fellsmere residents to get together and share memories about the times when they lived in Fellsmere. If you would like to know more about the history of the Fellsmere Garage, Milford, Ellsworth, and Barbara Weigel, and the 1905 first transcontinental automobile race, you can use your smartphone to read the QR code to access the City of Fellsmere website or use the city's website address as shown on the walking tour brochure.